Welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and at this point in the Christmas holiday season, we probably have forgotten what day of the week it is, and that is okay. Christmas has passed. Hope everybody's Christmas was great. We're now rolling into the new year in the very near future, and also the beginning of more crowdfunding campaigns coming down the line. Now, the very first one I wanted to highlight for you is 100 Kobayashi Tower, the second edition. This game comes from Gabe Barrett and is going to be part of what's called a solo game of the month. So every single month, a small box solo game will be going to GameFound. It's going to be near completion when it goes to crowdfunding, so that when the crowdfunding campaign closes up, it'll immediately go to printing and then be able to be shipped out, keeping that cycle that we're typically used to with crowdfunding games taking years down to just months. You're going to also see this second version in action, as I'm going to put together another video on the day that this thing launches to help you make an informed decision as to whether or not this game is for you. So without further ado, let's check out the back of the box, and then I'll show you all the components that come inside. As we're already aware, this is a solo-only game. It takes about 20 minutes to play once you know the rules, and you're going to be working your way through the Kobayashi Tower to rescue your wife who's been taken hostage by terrorists. You'll be rolling dice, rescuing hostages, and taking down bad guys before time runs out. Now here's a look inside the VHS style case, which I really like because when you close this thing up, you're going to hear that wonderful, satisfying clicking sound, knowing full well that your game is going to be inside and it's not coming out. Now this probably goes without saying, but I want to mention it for those that may not understand, this is not 100% complete. So when this goes to print, of course, the tokens will be on punch boards and the cards will be wrapped up to ensure they're not moving around inside the game box. But basically here we have the rule book on the very top for the second edition. We have a number of dice up across the top. We have 2 piles of cards and tokens, and that's it. Again, another reason why this is not going to take up a ton of table space in order to enjoy this game. You're not dealing with a ton of components. Very quick to set up, very quick to play. Now, as we dive into the rulebook here for this prototype that I have, this is the 1.0 rulebook, and we're in the second edition for the upcoming campaign. That rulebook is currently in a digital format, so this rulebook will be part of that 5 to 10%, which will be reprinted, of course, and reprinted with the revised second edition rules. Now, as we head into the page that lists out the components, the setting up of the game, the win and loss conditions, an example of something that will change from this 1.0 rulebook to the second edition is that the player board here is no longer included, is no longer part of the components. Here's a rough example of the setup from the 1.0 rulebook. Remember, in the second edition, this player board will not be part of it, and instead things there will be tracked with dice. And then the rulebook heads into the gameplay section, and of course all this will be updated to the second edition rules in the final version. Now let's move past the rulebook and into the rest of the game components that came as part of this prototype. We have dice here, we have tokens, and a number of cards to go through. That's going to do it for the unboxing, and as we wrap this up and head into a future gameplay video where we can see this thing in action, I want to go over the 5 major new points for this second edition. The first is a new HP system that makes you feel stronger as you take damage. The second is a new event and test system that improves the game's pace. The third is more ways to mitigate the dice rolls. The fourth is that all the stretch goals from the original campaign are already included in this second edition. And the fifth is what I already talked about earlier in the video, the fact that I really like this VHS case. That's new as well. Now, to wrap up the video, I'm going to mention some of the key aspects of the Solo Game of the Month Club. The first thing is that each month there will be a small box solo game offered. It'll be limited edition. The game is at least 99% finished at the campaign launch. There's no stretch goals. There's no add-ons. You're paying for shipping when you back the game. Manufacturing, as I mentioned, will begin immediately after the campaign ends, and the game will ship to backers directly from China. So there'll be nothing in between to cause the distribution of the games to slow down. Things will go straight to you from there. And the game is a limited edition that will not be available in retail beyond any overrun copies that will be sold on the Best with One website. So you're going to get something that is going to be limited, which is very cool. And that, my friends, wraps up the game unboxing for Hunted Kobayashi Tower 2nd Edition, designed by Gabe Barrett and published by Best with One Games. Looking forward to diving into the action to see whether or not we can survive and save the wife involved in a hostage situation in this tower in the near future. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.